Icon series.
Okay, children. So we had seen the lesson part, the maps, our guides, and now it's a time for us to do the activity part. Fine. Okay, the exercise actually starts with a true or false. So five statements are given there. We need to check each and every statement given over there with what we have learned in the lesson, right? So if it matches with what we have learned, then we need to mark it as a true. And if it doesn't match, then we need to mark it as a false. Okay. So we need to check with the every single sentence that is given over there, right? Okay. Now the first sentence. A map is full of geographical data. The statement is a true one, isn't it? A map is a full of geographical data because the geographical data of a region is transferred onto a flat sheet which we call as a map, isn't it? Yes. Second one. A book of map is called atlas. True. Different maps are combined together to form a book, and that is called an atlas, isn't it? Third one. In a map, blue color is used to show lands. When we look at a map, we can see a vast extent of blue color, isn't it? See, we have a globe here also. What do we use this blue color for? Yes, that blue color actually refers to water bodies, ocean, isn't it? So that is a false statement because in a map, blue color is used to show the water bodies and brown color are usually used for expressing land areas, isn't it? Yes. Fourth one, the art of making maps is called photography. It's cartography, isn't it? Cartography is the process of making different maps and it is not a photography. So the answer is a false, right? Okay. Every map is drawn according to a scale. Yes. Every map is drawn according to a scale. The real distance on the earth is reduced to a particular scale. Only then we can have the exact size, shape, and the details of the area, isn't it? So every map is drawn according to a scale, right? So we'll submit the answers. Yes. So we will read all the five sentences once again. The first one, a map is full of geographical data, is a true statement. A book of maps is called an atlas, is also a true statement. In a map, blue color is used to show lands, is a false statement because brown color is used to show lands on a map and blue color is used for expressing water bodies. Fourth one, the art of making maps is called photography, is a wrong statement because it is a cartography. Every map is drawn according to a scale, again is a true statement. So we have completed this task and now I will keep this screen the same for you for another minute so that you can yes, read the sentences and check with the answers once again. Fine, children. Now we'll go on to the next one. Fill in the blanks. So we have 5 sentences given there with a blank or 2 each. In the last one, there are 2 blanks. In the other 4, we have a 1 blank each. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to read the sentences one by one. Check with the options given there and identify the suitable option given there with which we can complete the sentence above, right? So with the correct, by selecting the correct options, we need to make the sentences a complete and a meaningful one, right? Okay, the first one. The top of the map shows which direction, dash directions. So which direction is shown at the top of the map? Yes, we have a north line which shows the north direction, isn't it? So top of the map always show the north direction. In a map, brown color indicates what? Yes, highlands, isn't it? The hills and higher land areas like the plateaus and mountains are usually expressed in a brown color, isn't it? Yes. Third one. A person who prepares maps is called a cartographer. Cartography is the process of making the maps, and a person who makes a map is called a cartographer. So a person who prepares maps is called a cartographer. Fourth one. A book of maps is called an atlas. Okay, an atlas is a book of maps. Dash and dash make the map easier to read. So what are the things that we use in a map to make it easier to read and understand a map? Signs and symbols, right? Okay. So we have completed all the 5 sentences. Now we will read all the sentences once again. The top of the map shows north direction. In a map, brown color indicates highland. A person who prepares maps is called a cartographer. A book of only maps is called an atlas. Signs and symbols make the map easier to read. Right? Okay. Now I'll keep the page the same for another minute so that you can read all the 5 sentences once again. Right? Fine, children. So now we'll move on to the next one. It's a match the following. So on one side we have the descriptions and the second side we have the locations or the different states mentioned there, isn't it? Okay. So now, boundaries of continents and countries. So a state that comes to the boundary of a country can be Uttar Pradesh. Mountains, plains and valleys are there in Assam. Plenty of mountains, valleys and plains are also there. Temperature and weather conditions are severe in Rajasthan. Thar Desert is there. Seaports and trade routes are there from Kerala. Forest and grasslands are from Uttarakhand. right? So boundaries of countries and continents are related to Uttar Pradesh. Mountains, plains and valleys are related to Assam. Temperature and weather conditions are related to Rajasthan, which is severe there. Seaports and trade routes are related to Kerala. Forests and grasslands are extensively found in Uttarakhand, right? Okay. So now I will keep the screen the same for another minute so that you can check it yourself once. Yes. Okay, children. So now we'll move on to the next one. So look at the diagram and write the directions on each arrow shown to it. So there is a diagram of arrows given there, and we need to identify the directions based on the arrows given. So we know the top is always north. To the right of the north is east. Opposite to the north is south, and to the left of north is west, right? So the top is north, to the right of the north is east direction, the opposite to the north is south direction, and the left of north is west direction. So the cardinal directions north, south, east and west we have already marked, and now we need to mark the intermediate directions. Okay. Now the direction that lies in between north and east is the northeastern direction. The direction that lies in between south and east is the southeastern direction. The direction that is in between south and west is the southwestern direction, and the north and west is the northwestern direction, right? So which are they? North and east. The middle of north and east we have a northeastern direction. South and east we have a southeastern direction. South and west we have a southwestern direction, and west and north we have a northwestern direction, right? So they are the 8 different directions that we usually have on a map. Okay, right. So I'll keep the screen the same for another minute so that you can have a look at it again. Okay, so now we'll go on to the next one. Answer the following questions. What is a map? The first question is, what is a map? Answer. A map is a drawing of a whole or a part of the Earth's surface on a flat sheet. A map is a drawing of a whole or a part of the Earth's surface on a flat sheet. So if we want, we can make the entire map of the world or any part of it, isn't it? We can have the separate map of India, We can have a separate map of Asia. We can have a separate map of Andhra Pradesh. We can have a separate map of any particular district in that, isn't it? So it can be the whole earth or in a separate part of the earth, right? So a map is a drawing of the whole or a part of the earth's surface on a flat sheet, right? Now, the second one. How is a map more useful than a globe? So globe actually represents the shape of the earth also in it, but the map is a more of flat surfaced one, right? Isn't it? So how is a map more useful than a globe? Globe is a small model of the earth. So on the globe, the entire earth is shown. But on a map, even a small part is also shown. So we can get a lot of information. Moreover, it can be folded and be carried easily to any place. So globe is a small model of the earth. We have the entire earth being shown on the globe, but we cannot go for a specific details of a particular region or so, or different features of the earth on a globe. But on a map, we can get a lot of information, and it's easy to be carried from one place to other also, right? So, yes, maps are more useful than a globe, right? Read the answer once. Okay, so now we'll go on to the next question. What is an atlas? A book full of maps is called an atlas. So what is an atlas? A book full of maps is called an atlas. How is a scale useful in a map? A scale helps us to know the actual distance between the places on the earth. So when the cartographers make the maps, the actual distance in between the places on the earth is reduced to a particular scale, and they make the map based on that particular scale, isn't it? Yes. So when they do it, they follow a particular scale system for every place. So it helps us to know the actual distance. By converting back, yes, we can understand the real distance in between the places based on the scale on the earth. Okay? Read the answer once yourselves. Okay. The next question. What is cartography? What is cartography? The art of making maps is called cartography. The art of making maps is called as cartography. And a person who makes a map is called a cartographer. Okay? Yes. So now read it once again. The next question. Why are signs and symbols used in a map? Why are signs and symbols are used in a maps? Signs and symbols are used in maps to make them easier to read. So while in the lesson also we have gone through this point, isn't it? Yes, it's impossible to put all the information about the particular places on the map. So as to represent those particular features, what do? We use different signs and symbols on the maps so that when we understand the signs and symbol, it becomes easy for us to understand the map also, right? So signs and symbols are used in maps to make them easier to read. Okay. Now we'll go on to the next question. Take an atlas from your library and find out what types of maps does it contain. So what are the different kinds of maps that we can have in an atlas? There are 7 types of maps that are used for different purposes, and we can find all these different maps in an atlas. So they are political maps, physical maps, topographical maps, climatic maps, economic or resource maps, road maps, thematic maps. So political maps we have seen, which shows the boundaries of the countries, continents, states and all. Physical map shows the hills, mountains, valleys, rivers, deltas, water bodies, lakes, all these kinds of things are there in a physical map. Topographical maps represents the altitudinal changes, means the height of different land areas in a region. Climatic maps shows, yes, the weather conditions and the climatic conditions of a region. Economic or resource maps are mostly about the agricultural maps, like the different kinds of crops that are cultivated in a particular region, or the places where we have got what we call mines and all. Okay, mineral deposits and mines are established, or even industrial units are also a part of the resource and economic maps. Road maps actually shows the roads that are established in between the different cities in a country. Thematic maps are based on different themes, like based on the population, or then forest covers. Okay, so based on such kinds of themes, the thematic maps are also there. So these are the 7 different kinds of maps that we can have in any atlas. They are political maps, physical maps, topographical maps, climatic maps, economic maps and resource maps, road maps, and thematic maps. Okay. Okay, let's see what the next question is. Prepare a chart of the signs and the symbols used in a map. Prepare what are the different signs and the symbols that we use in a map. Yes, we have the same chart in our textbook also. Okay, so how the different boundaries, like international boundaries or state boundaries, district boundaries, and the tehsil boundaries are drawn. Then how different kinds of roads and railways are shown on a map. How different water bodies are shown, and some other features like the capitals, the states, and the district headquarters are shown. Then how villages, forts, dams, springs, temples, mosques, churches, Such kinds of regions are also shown on the map. We use these different kinds of symbols for that. Okay. If you check the PDF or the textbook related to this particular lesson, you can find the same chart in that also. Fine. Now we'll go on to the next one. Take an outline map of India. Show the mountain ranges of the Himalayas, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the northern plains using proper colors. Right? So, on an outline map of India, we need to show the Himalayas, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the northern plains. So, we know the northern plains come in this region. They come in this region. Just to the south of it, we have the northern plains. The northern mountains come in this region, the Himalayas, right? From the Kashmir to the Arunachal Pradesh, yes. Just below that, we have the northern plains. On the western side of India, we have the Arabian Sea. And on the eastern side of India, we have a Bay of Bengal, right? Okay, now I'll keep the map the same for another minute so that you can have a look at that. Okay, so that is a part from maps or guides. So we will meet in the next class with a new lesson. And until we meet in the next class with a new lesson, stay home, stay safe, take care of yourselves. Right? Thank you.